Hello, 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 brothers and sisters out there. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Your brother Tony is in the house. I hope that you all had a good day. I definitely had a good day. And I'm going to shortly get into this content tonight. It's going to be very encouraging, my brothers and sisters. All you have to do is listen to what I'm about to say. Don't hear me. Listen to what I'm about to say. There are many of you that desire to be in a relationship, and I need to talk to you about it. There are some of you that's already in a relationship, and I need to talk to you about it. Am I an expert when it comes to a relationship? No, I'm not an expert when it comes to a relationship, but I do have experience, and I'm in a relationship with Jesus. So Jesus could help me to help you understand what it is to be in a relationship with someone, a man or a woman, okay? So just listen to what I'm about to say. I'm going to give a few more people opportunity to come in. And if you listen to me, my brother and sister, I guarantee you, after this particular broadcast, you will look at a relationship a whole different way, in a different perspective. So we're going to give a few more people just a few seconds to come in, and then I'm going to jump into this content this evening. How you doing, Sister Teresa Thomas? How you doing? How you doing? So my other brothers and sisters, come on in, come on in, come on in. We got time. Don't sit in the back. Come close to the front. We got plenty of seats. How you doing, my little sister Renee? Come on in, brothers. Come on in, sister. I guarantee you, when you listen to this particular content tonight, this is going to encourage you, my brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship. I'm not going to keep you long, so let's get ready. Again, how you doing? How you doing, my brothers and sisters out there? How you doing? Your brother Tony is in the house. If this is your first time looking at the broadcast, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk about relationships. I talk about relationship, my brother and sister, from a biblical perspective. When I say a biblical perspective, I clearly believe in a relationship from a biblical point of view. God created the man and the woman at the beginning. Both the man and the woman had a unique relationship with God himself. And that's what I believe in. God did not start the world off with two men. He did not start off with two women. He started out with a man and a woman. That's how God started what is called the human race. How you doing, Sister Yolanda Douglas? So we're about to get into this content tonight. If you don't believe in the biblical account of a man and a woman, from God's point of view, it's right. It's documented. It's documented clearly in Genesis. When God created the world, he started with one man, one woman, not two men, not two women, but he started with one man, one woman. But if you believe in any other type of relationship, you have what is called a free will. You do what you choose to do. But if you choose to look at this particular broadcast, I talk about the relationship between a man and a woman. With that said, tonight's topic, my brothers and sisters, is what does a relationship look like? Thank you, Sister Teresa. What does a perfect relationship look like? Yes, you heard me, my brother and sister. What does a perfect relationship look like? Let me be frank and clear, my brothers and sisters. There is no human, man or woman, that was created to live on an island, especially if your name is not Gilligan. Even Gilligan had some people on the island with him. But no man or no woman was created to live an isolated life. How you doing, Sister Flo Hart Martin? No man or woman was created to live an isolated life. So therefore, if that were the case, God would have just created Adam, and that's all he needed to do. Or, that's all God had to do. He didn't have to create Eve or nobody else. It could have just been God and Adam. But God chose another way. With God omnipotent, being omnipotent, being all-knowing, God, for some reason, decided to pair a woman with a man. Now, you all know this scripture. I have said it over and over again, and I'm probably going to say it again in the future, but you need to understand it, my brother and sister, from Genesis 2:18. Genesis 2:18. Genesis 2:18. It clearly states that the Lord God said, it's not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. This is God's original plan, my brother and sister. God said, and who is God? God is composed of three personalities. That's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So there was a conference in heaven. And the conference is, the conversation, it's not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. Now, it was not one personality talking to himself. It was one personality talking to the other two, and they all agreed with what one of the personalities said. So who did the talking? I could tell you this. What I do know is the Bible clearly say that everything was made by Jesus and for Jesus. That's right. The word say everything. It said that the word was created by him and for him. That's right. It was created by Jesus and it was made for him. Now, what is a perfect relationship? I went searching for what some people say is a perfect relationship. I even went on the internet, and this is what I see, what the internet say a perfect relationship is composed of. It states that a perfect relationship, the best relationship someone would ever be in, and hopefully the only one. That's one perspective. Number two, living life to its fullness and having many perfect moments. That's two. Number three, being with the one you completely admire and adore. Willing to do anything for that person. So those are the three things that is associated with what a perfect relationship, quote unquote, supposed to look like. Now, that's supposed to mean, does that really mean a real relationship? Let me see. Let me tell you something, my brother and sister. There's not, the perfect relationship in this world doesn't exist. The perfect relationship in this world doesn't exist. The reality, my brother and sister, is this, that since there isn't one perfect man, and neither is there one perfect woman that have lived, is currently living, or will be born tomorrow, will never taste what it's like to be perfect. Unless that man or woman was, is, and shall be God. Because there's a perfect union between the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But is there a perfect relationship between a man and a woman? No. Will there ever be a perfect relationship between a man and a woman in this present life? No. Will a man ever meet a perfect woman? No. Will a woman ever meet a perfect man? No. There is only one man and one woman that knows what it's like to have a perfect relationship together. And it's documented. Once upon a time in the Garden of Eden, there was this man that was created first. His name was Adam. Secondly, there was, thank you, Sister Teresa. Secondly, there was a woman that was created, and she was brought to the man. And that's, he found her when God brought her to him. That woman was Eve. Those two individuals are the only two individuals that ever lived that knows what it was like to live in perfect harmony, to experience total transparency with one another. That was Adam and Eve, before Adam and Eve made that crucial decision and messed up. So when Adam and Eve made that crucial decision and messed up, it was guaranteed in our timeline from Adam and Eve until when Jesus come that no man or no woman would ever have the perfect relationship. Now, what does a perfect relationship look like, my brother and sister? There's someone that listening to me this evening, tonight, that desire to be in a relationship with someone. But you know what the real problem is, my brother and sister? Let me tell you what the real problem is. Subconsciously, there are some men. Subconsciously, there are some women that do not realize that there's no perfect counterpart. There's no perfect mate. So therefore, you looking for something. A lot of men and women, they have these imagination, where this imagination people, or imaginary people, and these people have to meet the top 10 bullet points. Brother, you will never find a woman in your imagination that meet all 10 of those points in your mind. Sister, if you got a bullet point of 10 or whatever, you will never find a man to measure up to that. You brothers, some of you brothers and some of you sisters, you are living in a fantasy world. How you doing, Sister Spice? Good evening. I need to listen to learn. So it's so hard in having a relation at this time. Amen, sister. How you doing, mother? But let me tell you that, my brother and sister, the reason why a lot of you brothers, and I hate to say this, a lot of you sisters, you have something wrong with your mind. What you need to do, my brothers and my sisters, yeah, Sister Flo said, yeah, look for an adjustable self. And I'm glad you said that, Sister Flo. Look in the mirror, my brother and sister. Look in the mirror. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Your name is you're not that witch on Sleeping Beauty. You remember when the witch on Sleeping Beauty, she said, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And the mirror said, Sleeping Beauty, right? That was going by the outward appearance. Now, when I tell you, my brother and sister, to look in the mirror, I'm not talking about a literal mirror. Look within yourself. Be true to thyself, or yourself. Be true to yourself. Brothers and sisters, if you don't lie to yourself, if you don't deceive yourself, you know that you have a long way to go. You know that you're not perfect. So my brother and sister, how can you expect a woman to be perfect when you're not perfect? You don't know what perfection look like, brother. Sister, why would you look for a man that's perfect and you're not perfect? You don't know what perfection look like. That's right, Sister Therese. We all fool ourselves. Even your brother Tony, I know it's hard for you to believe, but when I was a young bobo, a young scrub, I had this imaginary thing in my mind. A woman had to be this way. Boom, 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 boom. But as I grew older, and when the Lord, he put in me to be realistic, when the Lord put in me to be realistic, I was able to see beyond a woman's face. I was able to look beyond a woman's physique. The Lord taught me, and he's still showing me how to look on the inside. And how did the Lord do this? And this is what you, brothers and sisters, you need to do. You need to ask the Lord for wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and discernment. You understand? You need to ask God, my brothers. You need to ask God, my sister, before you look for any man, sister, before you look for any woman, brother, you need to ask the Lord to make me a better man or make me a better woman so I could be the right man or the right woman for another man or woman. You got to start within yourself, my brother and sister. I know I had to start within myself, because a long time ago, it was some women that I used to deal with. If they did certain things, I would cut them loose just like that. No, I'm not Denzel Washington and all that kind of stuff, but I used to be cutthroat. I used to be cutthroat. I used to be like, let's say like I'm the coach of a football team. You will be drafted or you were going to be a walk-on. And if you didn't perform, even if you had a contract, if you didn't perform, I would cut you or I would trade you. That's how some of you brothers and sisters doing now. You think that you're a coach on a team and you drafting people and you having walk-ons. You looking for someone to fit the mold of the team. But guess what, my brother and sister? Coaches are not perfect. So you brother and sister, you got to understand you are not perfect. How you doing, Sister Crabtree? You're not perfect. So if you are interested, my brother and sister, in being, and you know the 3 coming up, if you're interested in being in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship, never look for a perfect man or woman. However, you should desire the right man or the right woman. Okay? That's what you should desire. The right man or the right woman. Now, how will you be able to obtain the right man or the right woman? Since you all at the dinner table and we're sitting here eating this good soul food tonight, let me expound something to you. That means open up, not explain. This is the recipe of how to get in a relationship with the right person. You got to listen to me. Don't hear me. This is very vital. This is very imperative. And this is very important. Bump all that stuff that you have heard from other people that claim to be expert in relationships. Bump all those CDs. Bump all those talk shows and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to start from the ground. I'm going to build a structure for you, my brother and sister, so you can experience a utopia type of relationship. But you got to understand it, my brother and sister. When I expound this to you, you got to understand the person that I'm talking about that you may be in a relationship with. Number 1, he or she will not come perfect. Number 2, he or she going to come with baggage. Because that man or woman come from another environment just like you. Because you got some baggage too. You may not have as many as that person. Hopefully you ain't like bad lady like what Erykah Badu saying. Every man and every woman, you got baggage. You know why you got baggage? Because if you've been in a relationship with different people, you just don't know how those experiences can affect you. Especially if you have been sleeping around with different people. If you've been sleeping around with different people, you're going to be really messed up unless Jesus cleans you anyway. You understand? Because when it comes to a relationship, my brother and sister, you have to be equally yoked. How you doing, Sister Cheryl Smith? It's very imperative, important, and necessary that you be one. You got to travel down. How shall I say this? I'm trying to get it right for you. You got to be very, very focused, my brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship. You got to understand it, my brother and sister, when you get serious and commit to a relationship, you have to do this inside out. What do I mean inside out? Brothers and sisters, before you get in a relationship with another man, a man or a woman, you need to have a real good relationship with God. Most men and women do not have a good relationship with. Most men and women do not have a relationship with God. That's where it started, my brothers and sisters. Most people, some people that listen to me tonight, never been told that before. Your mama never told you that. Your daddy never told you that. Your brother, your sister, your friend, majority of people never told you need to have a relationship with God first. Question is, why do you need to have a relationship with God first? Because Look at what God did. God had a unique relationship with Adam first before Eve came on the scene. It was Adam and God. Before God brought Eve to Adam, Adam was asleep. God stepped aside with his rib and he formed Eve. God had a unique relationship with Eve before Adam. You see what I'm saying? So that represents that the man needs to have a relationship with God first. The woman needs to have a relationship with God first. The man has to be prepared for the woman. The woman has to be prepared for the man. That's how God started out with Adam and Eve, but they was perfect. Now, since there's no perfect man or woman no more, the man still has to have a relationship with God, and so does the woman. The man has to allow God to mold him into the right man. The woman has to allow for God to mold her into the right woman. And when God does this, my brother and sister, in God's time, through life circumstances, he's going to bring that man and woman together. He's going to bring the woman to the man, and the man will find the woman. Some people think when the Bible say a man that findeth a good wife obtain favor from God. No man never goes seeking for a woman. It doesn't happen that way. For the world, it happens that way. But if you allow God to do it, God's gonna bring that woman right in your viewpoint, brother. However He does it, and that's how you find her. God does all the leg work. No man could truly say that he found the woman on his own. If a man say he found a woman on his own, a good woman that is, he is a liar. If a woman says she found a man, she first of all starting out lying anyway, because women don't find men. You understand? Now, if a woman say a man found me through God, that's how relationships are supposed to start. Relationships. I mean genuine relationships. Spiritual relationships. Even if the man and woman are spiritual, they still imperfect. Because they are dealing with dual natures. The man and woman is a spiritual and fleshly being. Most men and women, they think fleshly. But you got dual roles, because like I said last night, I mentioned this to you. I told you, brother and sister, that the spiritual world, it overlaps with the physical world. Most men and women, you're accustomed to the physical world because you're fleshly minded. The spiritual world is more realer than the physical world. You understand? So, brother and sister, you need to have conscious of the spiritual part of you, not just the physical part. Because let me tell you something, my brother and sister. If you think physical, you got to understand this. Some of you brothers and sisters, you are into the physical, how a man and woman look and shape. Do you not realize, my brother and sister, that man and woman, their body is going to change as time goes on? So you need something other than how a man and woman look. There's nothing wrong with a man and woman looking appealing. Like Sister Flo did mention, an adjustable 7. My brother and sister, never shoot for a 10. If you're looking for a man and a woman on a Richter scale between 10, never look for a 10. You know why you don't look for a 10? Because 10 doesn't exist. In this world, 10 never exists unless your name Adam and Eve before they made a mistake. That's what that's what the perfect relationship really looked like. We don't know what that was like. We never came close to it. We will never come close to it in this world. That's why, my brother and sister, you got to look at the mirror within yourself and see how wretched you are. I had to look at myself and see how wretched I am on the inside. I had to look at myself and say, why did God cause me to find Cinderella? I know I had a messed up past. I have done some women wrong, and I have been done wrong. I was living in the flesh, trying to be a player. Players get played too. Because you could always find somebody that could outplay you at the table. Someone always have a better card at that poker table than you, my brother and sister. You cannot outsmart everyone, brothers and sisters. Those of you that trying to be players, some of you brothers that still trying to be players, and you 60 and 70 years old, still trying to be players. There's another lady out there, and she ain't even got to be 67. She could be 20 years old. She could sit at the poker table and beat you at the poker table. First game. And some of you sisters too, some of you older sisters, you think you so smart and you think you could outwit some of these younger guys too, right? There are some of these younger guys, they got something in their hand that you never seen before. See, the thing about being a player, my brother and sister, is this. The game is the same. You just have different players at the table. The game never changed. Let me tell you about being a player. When you be a player, my brothers and sisters, there are some of you that don't even want to admit you used to be a player. What is a player? You don't have to deal with more. All you have to do is deal with more than one person at one time to be a player. You don't have to have a whole bunch of people to be a player. Some do. Some people get a thrill out of being a player, you know what being a player is? You're trying to outwit someone to get something out of them, and you're not investing that much. That's what a player is about. You're trying to take advantage of someone. That's right. That's what players are. You're trying to take advantage of someone, and then you get played. So if you ever decide to try to be a player, my brother and sister, take it from me. You're going to find someone that, if you're a man, there's a lady that's going to sit there with a poker face at the poker game. You're going to look at her face, and you ain't going to be able to tell what she got in her hand. Some of you sisters, a man going to be at the poker table with you. He's going to sit right in front of you. You're going to look at his face, and you're not going to be able to tell what type of cards he got in his hand. You think you got the best hand, don't you, sister? You think you got the best hand, don't you, brother? So you throw your card on the table, bam, and you ready to grab all the goodies, right? And then that person in front of you said, no, not too quick. Here go. This was what in my hand. You beat. My brother and sister, let me tell you something. You are imperfect. There's not one man or one woman perfect. You will never experience a perfect relationship with anyone in this world, not a man or a woman. The best you can get, my brother and sister, is being with the right person. And I'm going to go back to this formula that I'm telling you, brother and sister. Some of you have heard me say that before. When you are interested in a man or a woman, you need to go somewhere where you, brother, and you, sister, can talk to that person. When you date, you don't date just for fun. You have fun while you date, but you don't date for fun because time is ticking. You need to be with you need to get with someone, and you need to discuss those important things of life. And the formula that I told you, my brother and sister, I told you this. If you can remember that, some of you have heard it before, you're going to hear it again. I said when you talk during your date, my brother and sister, it's an interview. All dates are interviews. Whether you admit it or not, dates are interviews. What do you do at an interview? You get prepared for an interview, right? You dress the part where you want to work. Like if you want to go work for Microsoft and all that kind of stuff, you learn how they dress. Whenever you go looking for employment, you have to learn, you should learn what that company is about. You need to do some research and look at what that company is about. After you do your research, and if you called for the interview, dress good as if you're going to get a job, because a date is an interview. Especially the first date, this is an interview. Don't you know, my brother and sister, some of you know this, when you have went for an interview, you either got that job or not. Let's say, for instance, that particular employer didn't have nobody in mind, but it was wide open. You get the call. When you first go in, before you say anything, that potential employer going to look at you from the outside, because that's how men and women do it. They look at the outside, but you don't know the person now. You might have a copy of the resume and stuff, but you still don't know the person. The resume is not going to get you the job. It just enhances your chances of possibly getting a job. What do you want me to tell you when you get the job? When you start talking. That's what you get the job. When an interviewer asking you questions, he or she, they may say it, they might be mild or whatever, but when he or she asking you questions, he or she asking you a question for a reason, to see whether or not you fit their company. That man or woman that's sitting in front of you is looking at your resume and listening to you talk and asking you questions off that resume. And also, that man or woman know what he or she needs at the company. So they're looking at the resume, your representation, and they're listening to you. That's the same thing when it comes to it. Because you see, when a job, it's going to be a professional relationship. When you talk about getting a relationship with a man or woman, that's a personal relationship. But it's still an interview session. So my brother and sister, before you go out on a date, you got to understand this. What happens, even on job, you may love your job, but there's some things about your job that you don't like. But overall, you might like it, but it's going to be some things that you just don't like about it, but you tolerate it. So when it gets to a personal relationship and doing those, when you out on a date, when you talking to a potential mate, there are going to be some things about him or her that you may not like. But you got to understand that the thing is, can I tolerate it? Can I tolerate it? Because guess what? It's a give and take situation. Your employer don't like some things about you, what you do sometime on the job, but they don't fire you right then. They may write you up, but they don't fire you right then. Now, sometimes they fire you, but most of the time they warn you. Then they write you up, then you out the door. In a relationship, when you are talking, doing that, and I remember I said the word forms, F-O-R-M-S. You have to see, do you have compatibility, because these 5 things are the most important things in your life. I have said it before, I'm going to say it again. It's form, and you all should be able to remember this. It's F-O-R-M-S. Forms. F-O-R-M-S. How you doing, Angela? Forms. You know, like a form, a piece of paper, a form. If you can remember this, my brother and sister, this can get you through the dating. When you sitting there talking to this person, you casually ask this person about their family. And listen to what that man or woman say about his or her family. And see their ideology match up with yours when it comes to family. And then after you talk about family, you ease into the O, which is occupation. See what he or she is doing to take care of his or herself. And after you get through the occupational part, then you slide on in, you transition into R, which is religion. See what that person think about religion. What does he or her practice, if anything? Or the or could also be a sword for relationship. Does that man or does that woman have a relationship with Christ? Because you see, religion is one thing, but the relationship trumps the religion. The question is, does that man or woman have a relationship with Christ? That's the breaking point. That should be the breaking point out of all these levels that I'm talking about. Does he or does she not have a relationship with Christ? Then you go to money. You talk about how do a person value money? What do you think about money? And then throw some scenarios in there about money. And then the next thing is sex. Don't be afraid to talk about sex. Some people say, you don't talk about no sex on no first date. Yes, you do. But you don't talk about sex as if you want to go get sex. You talk to them to see what they think about sex in general. Some people, you don't know what they think. You don't know what type of experience some people have when it comes to sex. So you need to have a mature talk with someone. Remember, F, family, O, occupation, R, religion or relationship with Christ, M, money, and S, sex. Those are the 5 most important points in a relationship. You have to see whether or not that person will be yoked with you or not. You're not going to see the same thing although, but you need to be similar on all those points. And while you're asking these questions, you need to have a silent prayer with God. Because while you're asking those questions, a person could lie to you. You ask God, give me discernment so you can see where that person coming from. And if you feel at peace, that's a good sign. But if you feel a little unsure, that's not a good sign. That's showing you that the Spirit of God is saying, okay, that's good. But if you feel a little, you can't just put your finger on it. Don't go that way. The Spirit of God is saying, don't do that. If you decide to enter into a serious relationship, this is what you do. You let that person know early whether or not whether we can advance on. Like when you go get a job, they give you 90 days, right? But when a person relationship, you ain't got to use that 90-day stuff. You just say, okay, let's see what let's be serious about this. Are you in a relationship with anybody else? Put that out there. Are you in a relationship with anyone else? Now, if that person let you know that he or she is in a relationship with someone else, at least he or she told you, and you decide whether or not you want to deal with it. Because at least he or she was straight up with you that they're in a relationship. And I'm talking about a single relationship, not married. I'm talking about single. Now, if the person is not in, and then if that person is in a relationship and single, you need to ask that person, okay, well, why are you interested in me? You have to ask those tough questions. If you're in a relationship with someone else, I know you're not married, so if you're not married, you are a free agent. And that's what you people got to understand, you single people. If you're not engaged to the person, that's the first thing. If you're not engaged, that person is a free agent. I know a lot of you don't want to say that or think that way. If you're not at least engaged, and I say at least engaged. If you're not at least engaged, you are playing. You are playing relationships. Now, when you engage, that shows you there's an intent to get married. So if you're talking to someone and they're engaged, you might as well back off already because the person is engaged. Now, if the person is not engaged, that's a good thing. Because he or she is a free agent, you're a free agent. Oh, thank you, Sister Spice. You're a free agent, he's a free agent. So you decide. And once you decide, you got to be serious. Then this is what you do. If that person have relationship with people out of time, like when we got these love sites, these little hookup sites. Sometimes some people be on hookup site. What do I mean by that? Like black people meet, country meet, Christian meet, and all that kind of stuff. You all know these dating sites, right? You ask them, are you in a relationship with someone out of time? When I say, are you in a relationship, I want to know, are you serious about anyone? That's all I need to know. Are you serious about anyone? How you doing, Sister Scott? And how you doing, Sister Mom? You say, are you serious with anyone? If he or she give you a glimpse that they see it with someone, if someone tell you this, I'm living with someone. Even if he or she is not married, but if he or she said, I'm living with someone, but I want to get to know you. And you want to say, well, why are you living with that person? Are you moving out with that person? Are you married? Are you engaged? And they said, no, when you moving out? Okay, when you move out, that's when we'll talk. It was nice having dinner with you, but when you move out, we could talk then. If he or she tell you something like, we're going through some changes, we're going through, it's a situation, all that kind of crap. Okay, get your situation straight and then reach out to me. Now, but don't think I'm going to wait for you now. Don't think I'm going to wait for you. Go handle your business. Thank you for the meal. So that's what you brothers and sisters need to do. You will never find a perfect man or a perfect woman. Hookups. Yeah, that's right, Angela. It's complicated. Thank you, Angela, for saying that. If somebody tell you they in a relationship that's complicated, it ain't nothing complicated about no relationship. Because you're either going to be single, you're going to be engaged, you're going to be married, you're going to be divorced or widow. Those are the only 5 relationships between a man and a woman. That crap that some people say is complicated. Do you all want me to tell you what complicated means? It's complicated because you can't understand it. You need to just understand it's just between you and me. You don't need to understand what's going on between him or her and me. It's complicated. But hey, if you want to spend some time with me, here's my number and a dime. You can call me anytime. You all remember that song? Here's my number and a dime. You can call me anytime. Call me when you need someone to talk to. Call me. You all remember that song. But let me tell you something, brother and sister. On a serious note, you will never find a perfect man or woman. Some of you brothers and sisters, you got, look at yourself, like I said, look at yourself. Make sure you together first before you demand anything on someone else. And there's a lot of men and a lot of women are hypocrites. You want a man to want to be a certain way, but you're not that way. Yeah, that's right, Angela. You brothers and sisters, some of you, not all of you, you're not real. You're not real. You trying to portray that you're real, but you're not. I'm going to tell you another thing too, my brother and sister. When you are getting to know someone, never tell that person exactly what you're looking for. You could tell them some things, but do not tell them everything. Because if you tell a man or a woman everything that you're looking for, he or she can mold his or herself into what they think you're looking for. And I have told you all this story before. I'm going to tell you again. Cinderella. Before I met Cinderella, And some of you have heard it before. Bear with me again. I prayed to God. I prayed to God for a woman to follow me. Even though I was imperfect, I want a woman to follow me. She was the only one that, after time went by, she the only one I ever met in my life that said, I'll follow you. And you know why? You know why that happened? Because I prayed to God. I prayed to God. I didn't tell God to have a woman say, I will follow you. I didn't tell him that. I said, Lord, I just want a woman to follow me. Even though I'm imperfect, I want a woman to follow me. And he said, ooh, I have been guilty of that one. I just want a woman to follow me. But some women would say, when I used to date and be out there and stuff, I never told them exactly what I was looking for. I told God, and sometimes I got ahead of God, and that's why I failed in some of my relationships, because I got ahead of God. I should have been patient. I got ahead of God a few times, and I failed, but I'm not a failure. So the last time I wanted to be patient. And guess what? I could have settled again. I was just messed up again because I was getting in front of God. And when I was getting in front of God, I was just going to mess myself up, and that was going to delay time. So the final time, dating. And then God, remember how I told you how a man found a woman? God put her right in my sight. When he put her in my sight, I didn't go looking for her. Adam didn't go looking for Eve. I didn't go looking for Cinderella. God put her there through life situation. He put her there. So when I found her because God put her there. She was hid from me. She was hid. So when God put her in front of me, I found her because I was looking for a woman to follow me. So God did the leg work. And I delayed God's leg work. How did I delay God's leg work? Because I was getting ahead of him. But when I got patient, he brought her. Was she perfect? No. Was I perfect? No. One time Cinderella did a show with me some years ago. I said, Cinderella, I said this live. I said, when did you find out that I was imperfect? She said, the second date. But she was just playing. But my point is, she know I was not all of that. I know she wasn't all of that. I wasn't looking for no perfect woman. She wasn't looking for no perfect man. We totally different. But now some people say, oh, but you said you have to be equally yoked. Yes, you have to be equally yoked. You have to be equally yoked on those 5 principles that I told you about: family, occupation, religion, money, and sex. Those are the 5 key areas of a relationship. Sister Spice said, what do you think about online dating? Good question, sister. What do I think about online dating? It's nothing wrong with online dating. I have been online dating. It's nothing wrong with it. Let me tell you what happened. Some people would say, if you do online dating, you can meet some crazy people. You don't know how people are. That's a lie. You can meet somebody in person at the store in your neighborhood, and that person could be crazy. That people don't have to be online being crazy. It's some people that walk right around you that you date or you have dated and they were crazy. Or they act like a donut. You know, a donut got a hole in the head. It ain't nothing wrong with it, Spice. It ain't nothing wrong with it. The thing about it is this: when it comes to online dating, let me tell you this. When it comes to online dating, it's still the principle of interviewing. If you decide to go online dating, let me tell you this: if you decide to go online dating, you need to have a live since we got the technology, you need to see that person live and get acquainted with that person live. If that person don't want to present his or herself live, you ain't got time for them. You understand? You want to see that person live. And not only live on the telephone or the computer, you need to meet up. You need to meet up. And when you meet up, you still need to interview. Now, there's a negative side to online dating and there's a positive side. Just like there's a negative side and a negative positive side means somebody live. That's right, Angela. Video chat. You video chat. Well, it ain't nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong. I mean, if you want to talk to somebody, you talk. You don't know how God going to bring it to pass. You don't know. But this is technology. But let me tell you this. If you online dating and somebody's out of town, Cheryl said never did no online dating. Cheryl, let me tell you this, Sister Cheryl, it ain't nothing wrong with it. It's just like, if you, like I just said, if you meet somebody at the park where you stay at the store, the movie or whatever, or the mall, you still got to learn that person. Just because a person right in your area, you don't know how that man gonna think. You don't know. He could be more crazy than a man on the website. The dating thing, it's just another vehicle to meet someone. But let me tell you, if you go online and you talk to somebody out of town, let me tell you this, sisters, especially you sisters, you're going to get a whole bunch of men coming after you. You're going to get a whole bunch of men coming after you. The question is, why are they coming after you? Are they coming after you for who you are, or are they coming after you for what you have between your legs? You got to distinguish that. Brother, you got to understand why some women are going to approach you, but you got to understand, do they want you for you, or do they want you for the bag? You understand? You got to understand. You got to use your discernment. Nothing wrong with it. And you said, if they have a problem with video chat, you may need to be talked to them in person. Who photo they present. Yeah, let me tell you this. Don't get catfished. You all have seen the show Catfish, where people have pictures and everything. They have pictures on the dating site. That might not be them. Let me tell you something, my brother and sister. One time, I was almost about to get catfished, right? I reached out to this young woman. She looked real good and stuff, right? So I called her. And it was a commotion over the telephone, right? And her sister happened to answer the phone. Her and her sister were fussing, because I heard her in the background. It was her sister's phone. And I told her sister who I was. She said, that's me. I'm not on no dating site. I said, wait a minute, something going wrong here. She said, I'm not on no dating site. And then I said, oh, you this? She said, no, that's my sister. She said, hold on. She went on the website using her sister's name. Her sister just used that woman's picture. So the woman that I was talking to, that wasn't the real woman. The real woman that I was talking to, her picture was online. You understand that? Her picture was online. So that's why, if you're dealing with someone, especially out of town or whatever, you better do that video chat. Don't go on about those pictures, because you might get catfished. They even got a show called Catfish. You need to check out that person as much as possible. Yolanda says she will either marry or didn't want you to see her after. Yeah, that's what it was, Sister Douglas. She didn't want me to see who she really was. But her sister looked good now. But anyway, you could do it. You could do it, Sister Spice. Go ahead and try that. Sister Cheryl, it ain't nothing wrong with it. There ain't nothing wrong with it. You got negative and positive even in real life. And nothing wrong with it. But my brother and sister, I'm about to wrap this up. You see, my sister Renee, she laughing at Carl. My sister Renee and my mom, they have met some of these people. No, they didn't. They ain't meet the right person. But anyway, let me tell you this. Brother and sister, you will never be in a perfect relationship. You have to be in a relationship where God does the matchmaking. He does it in different ways. But always remember this. God going to always position that woman in front of that man some kind of way. However he does it through life circumstance, God going to do all the legwork. So what you do, brother, you be about God business. Yeah, my mom said, yeah, we had met something. And then, sister, you be about God business. Just be about God business. And when it's right, God gonna make it materialize. But always pray that God bring the right person in front of you, my brothers and sisters, okay? And with that said, my brothers and sisters, thank you so much for coming to the dinner table. I hope that I fed you some good food tonight. I'm going to have some more tomorrow. Got a special treat tomorrow, okay, for dinner. Chef Tony here. I love you, brother. I love you, sister. Sister Yolanda said, God first, then you make no one else should come for. Amen, sister. Peace out. Thank you, Sister Spice. I'll be here tomorrow night. Have a good one. Goodbye.